As I said earlier, we launched this report just before the summer, where we have a lot of recommendations that we built on a lot of stakeholder meetings and workshops, and talking with actual business owners and farmers on what they see as potentials and barriers in the sustainable transition to more climate-friendly and plant-based food production, because we do have this giant production and consumption of animal products in Europe. And if we are to meet our environmental targets, something needs to be done about that. And of course, it needs to happen in a way that keeps food production healthy and keeps farmers in business. And since this is an EU-oriented seminar, I'm going to focus on that. We had another seminar last Thursday on more of the national policy and general policy, and we're going to publish the presentations from that, so you can go and see that on our website if you want to know more about those recommendations. Just quickly on the EU policy and the common agricultural policy specifically, as we heard from Professor Alan Matthews, there are some interesting potentials in the Commission communications and the new strategies on farm to fork, on biodiversity, but still not much has really happened with the CAP. We do have some eco schemes, but still it's really based on this income support, and that doesn't really function as a driver for more sustainable production, because it really favors the very big farms. It's an area support, and they're usually not the ones that need the support the most. So we need to instead direct it to if we want to help small scale farmers, we need to direct it in that way, and instead use the CAP for environmental improvements and more sustainable production. There isn't a movement towards farming and eating more plant-based food, but it's going very slow, and the CAP is a perfect opportunity to help this development, because we are in a hurry. We need to meet climate like greenhouse gas emission reduction targets really soon. And of course, this is not supposed to be like a long-term solution, but just to boost production, we can think of a way to subsidize plant-based production for a while. We should also instead orient it towards like more sustainable, and not just, but also more extensive dairy and meat production. And we have some really good examples in our report on farms that are transitioning towards more extensive livestock production, while diversifying their production to also include more plant-based production. And of course, the CAP can be a really important source of financing for the green transition if it's put together in the right way. I had lots and lots of slides on different recommendations that we have, for example, specifically for increasing plant-based primary production, and most importantly, dividing the risk between farmers and other parts of the value chain, because we can't expect farmers to take the entire risk of starting to produce more grain legumes if they don't have anywhere to sell it at a reasonable price. We need to develop the entire value chain, because we've been so focused on livestock production for decades that there are so many things we don't really know, or that we're not very familiar with in this whole production value chain. As Professor Alan Matthews said, there isn't much going on when it comes to consumers. Actually, for example, in Denmark, we see a lot of consumers wanting to reduce their climate impacts through their food consumption patterns, but they're not really encouraged to do so, other than general guidelines. But if we really want to change consumption patterns, we need to change how the market works. We need to make healthy, sustainable, and plant-based foods the cheaper option, and climate, and products that have a large climate impact, they need to be more expensive. And on the national level, that can be in the form of a climate tax, but also in the EU, there could be talk of a general climate tax, not just a carbon border tax, but a climate tax that also targets food products. Because otherwise, we're not going to change behavior. We're just going to punish the people that do make a more sustainable choice. We're going to punish them financially. As I said in the beginning, this needs to be a good business case for farmers. And in our project, we've seen that there are a lot of very good business cases out there. And we're seeing study after study of large investment companies saying plant-based production is going to be skyrocketing the coming years. There was just a report by Credit Suisse that predict 100-time increase in the plant-based food sector by 2050. That's in 30 years. It's going to grow from 12 billion euros to 1.2 trillion euros. That's a good investment. And Europe needs to be part of that transition. And we should be the ones that are producing the quality products, not just for plant-based products, like going organic, going good farm management systems, but also higher quality, but less livestock production. That should be our trademark in the future.